Hi friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. Before we begin this video, I just wanted to say that this past semester kicked my butt. Oh my god, junior year of college, y'all, is like no joke. Like my ass got completely handed to me. Like I feel like I still did well, like pretty well, like overall, but it just, oh my god. It was a lot, which is why my uploads have been so spotty like these last couple of weeks, and honestly, let's be real, like this last like month or so, like, and for that I'm very, very sorry. College is really hard. It's also why I decided to put my Nobody No Crime series on hold, because it just kept getting pushed back like further and further. Like originally I wanted all the episodes to go up in October, like for Halloween, and that just did not end up happening because there were so many other things going on in my life at the time, like my personal life, and then school was just like really again kicking my ass. So there was just so many things going on at once that just kept getting pushed back more and more and more. And I was still trying to be like, I still want to get these videos up, like I was still trying to make it happen, but the more like the more the time passed between like the first episode and then me trying to get up like the second and the third episodes, I was like, I just didn't really feel as excited about it anymore. I'm just like, I kind of feel kind of burnt out in regards to that series, and which is really sad because I was really excited for it when I was like originally planning for it, because the thing about my videos is that in general, while they're not necessarily like set in stone because it's my channel, I can do what I want, I tend to plan like video ideas like months and months in advance. Like I have so many videos, like video ideas like planned through like fucking like March or April of next year. Like I always like am thinking like really far ahead in advance just to give myself like a general idea of like what I want to film. But again, things change depending on like my personal life, or if I'm just like not like excited about the video anymore. But yeah, so that's basically kind of what happened with this series. I really do want to finish it at some point, but just not right now because I kind of felt creatively like burnt out with it, which again sucks, but it's just kind of what happened. So if you're wondering what was happening with that, here is your answer. Now with all that out of the way, for today's video, I wanted to do something really chill because again, I've been so burnt out this semester. Like I really can't stress it enough. This semester like kicked my ass. It was a lot. So I kind of just wanted, like, again, the semester is over and I do have some fun videos planned for like the rest of December that I'm very excited for you guys to see. But just for like today's video, I'm like, you know what, I want to do something really simple, something chill, something I don't have to think too much about. So for today's video, I really just kind of wanted to talk about some of my favorite things that I like to write about, like the kind of scenes I specialize in, the kind of genres that I like to write for, that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Something that really bugs me about being a screenwriting major is that within the program, we're really discouraged from writing pieces like within like the fantasy or sci-fi genres. And like I will definitely will talk more about this. I've always planned on doing like a full video like on the pros and cons of like being a screenwriting major and like going to an art school for college, and like basically just like all of that, all the nitty-gritties of that once I've graduated and kind of have the full picture. So I'll talk more about this in that video. But yeah, so most of the professors that I've had at least have always told us like, your script for the semester can't be fantasy or sci-fi. It can be anything else, but just not fantasy or sci-fi. Which I do understand to some extent because there's a lot of world building that is involved, like especially like with fantasy, that can be very dense, and so I understand that can be a lot for just like a script that you're working on for the semester. And also, this is again something I'm going to talk about more in my eventual like pros and cons of being a screenwriting major. But a lot of the screenwriting courses that I've taken so far at my school have been largely like film oriented and like writing like screenplays for like film and not really television or anything like that. So it's a little different. Like when you're writing, like for this past semester, I had to write, we all had to write for my screenwriting class, a 60-page, or at least a 50 to 60 page screenplay. that's like a film, not like it couldn't be like a show or anything. It like had to be like a film. So they're all very film oriented, and that's another thing. Like when you have like this have a lot of world building that's really dense, that can be hard to establish within like a 60-page screenplay, which might sound like a lot. I mean, every time I've told that to somebody who like wasn't like a screenwriting person, they're like 60 pages, but it really wasn't that much. That actually surprisingly wasn't the thing that was like really killing me this semester, thank God. But it's like, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just 60 pages isn't really enough sometimes to establish like a whole like fantasy world, if that makes sense. So again, it's not as if I feel like their concerns are unfounded or like completely unreasonable, but it does still suck for me because fantasy is my favorite genre to write for, and when I'm not in school and I'm doing my own shit, like writing my own shit outside of school, I'm usually writing within like the fantasy genre. Literally every time people ask me like what kind of stories I like to write, because that's usually like one of the first questions I get every time I tell people that I'm a screenwriting major, I always tell them fantasy. Like fantasy is my favorite thing to write for, and if it's not fantasy that I'm doing, then I'll usually do magical realism, which is like fantasy adjacent. It's not that I can't write stuff that's like set in like the real world. I mean, I've been doing it for the last 3 years as a screenwriting major, so it's not like it's impossible for me, but it's just not always the most enjoyable thing for me to do because, again, I really love fantasy, like a lot. I love it all. Fairies, mermaids, wizards, witches, like I love all of that fantasy shit. My favorite thing in particular, and part of like why I love magical realism so much, like especially, is taking like fantasy and supernatural elements and then putting them in real world settings. See, when I really think about it, I really do like primarily write stories that are like magical realism. It's just, there's something about taking fantastical elements and then inserting them into real world settings that I just cannot get enough of. I think I also really like it because with magical realism, you don't have to like necessarily do as much world building as you would like with a regular like fantasy story, like pure fantasy, because like when it's magical realism, like you're still set in the real world, so there's still a sense of like, you still need to be grounded in some sense of reality, which as someone who's been creating a whole like fantasy world for Mission to Mars for the last 7 years, let me tell you, that saves a shitload of time. All jokes aside though, I love world building and I love working on Mission to Mars, which I'm really excited because we're making some very interesting developments, which I'll be talking about in a later video. So I'm very excited to share those developments with you guys. So yeah, I really love fantasy and magical realism. I think part of the reason why I love those genres so much is because those were just always the kinds of stories I naturally gravitated towards when I was a kid and like when I was going through like rough times in my life, and they like those were the kind of stories that really shaped my like my formidable like young like adolescent years. So they're just, I guess, like kind of naturally then the stories that I want to tell like now that I'm older and like pursuing writing. And there's just something about like pushing the boundaries of what's possible with magic that just really tickles my fancy. Speaking of fantasy and magical realism, some of my favorite scenes to write within the genre are, I feel like they're very like on the opposite ends of like the emotional spectrum. Like some of my absolute favorite scenes that I've just ever written ever are like these super like heightened like emotional climaxes, and I especially love those within like the fantasy and like magical realism genres because I feel like within those genres the stakes are usually like really high, not only for the characters but also like within the context of their world, because of like the fact that there's like a magical element or like supernatural elements. That usually means that like there's even more at stake than like if it was just set within the real world. Those scenes are really where I shine. Like in those scenes, my dialogue is on point because I'm a dramatic bitch. And so I thrive with writing for those really high stakes emotional scenes because I feel very at home. I feel They feel very familiar because I'm a very emotional person, and so I'm just like, I just kind of translate that into like my dialogue, and from the feedback that I've gotten, it usually works. So I guess there's something to be said about that. I don't know. Then it's like on the other end of the spectrum, I also just really love writing like very chill, like relaxed and like muted scenes between characters. Like they could literally just be like, you know, like fucking just like sitting on a couch or like whatever and just like existing with each other's presence. Like I don't know, I really love those scenes and like writing those scenes as well, because I feel like sometimes you need a break between like the screaming matches and like the emotional breakdowns. Like there needs to be some kind of balance. It can't all be like so much emotion like all the time, because it's like I feel like one, that's not very realistic, and then also it's just like, you know, sometimes you just need a break. There needs to be a balance. It can't be just like all high intensity all the time. Sometimes we need to come back down and like, you know, just be chilling. And so I really like writing those scenes too. Like I love writing, again, just either the very high stakes like emotional scenes, or like the very like just like inconsequential, like just really chill scenes. Like they're just, honestly, there's no in between. I mean, like I can write the in between scenes, but the ones that I enjoy writing the most are those at the opposite ends of the spectrum. I also really love writing scenes where it's like the characters that you wouldn't expect to like get along or like have much in common, and then they just have the most like magical dynamic ever, because those usually, honestly, like genuinely, at least speaking from my own experience, they usually kind of happen by accident. Like you don't plan for this to happen, and then it's like, oh my god, I'm like, why wasn't I writing these characters together like sooner? Like they're so good together. And it's just like it doesn't even have to be like in a romantic way, just like in any way, like in a platonic or like familial like relationship. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And like I love to see those dynamics when I'm like watching shit, but I also just personally really love to write them because they're always so much fun. And then when it comes to the kinds of characters that I like writing for, this one's kind of hard because I don't really have like one specific character type that like I really love to write for, because I feel like I like writing all different kinds of characters. Like there's like, I just like writing characters. Like I don't really think about like this is the specific character type that I like really specialize in or like really love writing for. Like I just like writing all different kinds of characters because I feel like I can get attached to them in all different kinds of ways, like, and of all different kinds of characters. This was like kind of a cop-out answer, so I'm sorry about that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I really love writing families. Like I know that's not like a character type, like a specific character type, but like I love writing families, whether they're blood related or it's found family. I love writing family dynamics. I love writing all kinds of families in all different shapes and sizes. And particularly, I'm really a sucker for sister dynamics, which is really funny because I don't even have a sister. So I don't even have like personal experience. But you know what? I would consider a lot of like my female friends, like my close female friends, to be like my sisters. So I feel like that kind of counts. I feel like I can kind of say that I have some like sisterly connections or bonds, even though I don't have any biological sisters. I just have a brother, which I also love writing like brother dynamics or like brother sister dynamics and like whatnot. But for some reason, sister dynamics for me are really where it's at. Ooh, you know what? I also really love the emotionally repressed character finally shows like emotion or like has like a breakdown or like whatever. I really love writing those too. So I guess I do have a favorite type. I'm sorry, I'm just a liar. I was like, I don't really have an answer for this question. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? No, Jamie, I love writing emotionally repressed characters, which is again really funny. I think I like it because they're so different from me. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like I'm a very emotional person. Like if I'm feeling something, you know immediately because I can't hide it. I'm not good at hiding my emotions, for better or for worse. And so I think I like writing emotionally repressed characters because they're just so opposite. Like that's just so opposite from my own experience. But yeah, so I guess that's my answer. Sorry, I lied before. I'm a liar. I'm a dirty, filthy liar. Very quickly before we end this video, I just want to shout out that I have a second channel. It's just my name, Jaime Lazar. It'll be linked down below in the description of this video. And it'll also just be like on my channel, like if you go to like the channels tab or like whatever it is, it'll like show up there. If you've been following me for like a while, you might remember that I've always had a second channel. I made it not that long after making this channel. Like it's just, I've always had it for the most part. I used to post vlogs on that channel back when I thought I was going to be a lifestyle fucking YouTuber. But yeah, so I've recently decided that I wanted to revive that channel and have that be the place where I'm gonna post shorts, and eventually just like other like little videos that I feel like maybe don't kind of fit like the vibes I got going on here. Because even though on this channel I kind of just post whatever, like you guys know, like I just kind of make like whatever on here, I kind of want that channel to be even more like laid back and like casual. And yeah, so if you're not sick of me and you want more content from me, you can go follow that channel, subscribe to that channel. Again, it'll be linked down below in the description of this video if you want to go check it out. It's just my name, Jaime Lazar. And yeah, thanks guys. Anyway, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Can you notice, like, I've been trying to, like, stay away from, like, the sun, like, the light that's, like, beaming down on me, because I know it, like, it makes me look weird when it, like, hits me, like, on my face, and it's just, like, this freaking bright splotch of light, and it's awkward. I'm sorry about that. I've been like trying to like be like, hey guys. I'm like trying to avoid it so desperately. See, like it's a struggle. It's been a struggle, but it's been a fun video. I've enjoyed this. It also feels really good to be done with school for the semester, like so that I can get back to like posting videos more regularly, and that I can work on videos that I'm like really excited about and like really passionate about, which is super exciting. Again, like I've mentioned this before in the video, but like I have some videos coming up that I'm very excited for, particularly because it's like the holiday season, so like a lot of the videos that are coming up are going to be very like laid back and chill. Not all of them. There is one big one that I'm working on that will hopefully be up this Friday. If this video is going up Wednesday, this other video that I'm talking about should be up on Friday. Hopefully, we'll see. It's gonna be kind of a beast of a video, but hopefully I'll be able to get it all up on Friday and that'll be fine. But yeah, so stay tuned for those. Once again, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays and Fridays, except when I don't, and sometimes on Saturdays, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.